Welcome back to the Surly Cook. Today we're making warehouse chicken and dumplings. And by warehouse chicken, I mean the chicken that you get from the food warehouse. You know the one, this is it. We're going to combine that with some ingredients from my fridge and pantry to make a simple weeknight meal that is delicious. So we're going to start with a couple of tablespoons of butter and add celery and carrot first, and let those cook for just a couple of minutes before I add the onions. We'll give that a stir and then add just a pinch of salt. And we're going to cover and let those sweat for just about 3 or 4 minutes. After they've softened just slightly, we're going to stir again, because I love to stir the pot. You know, I like to do that. And then we're going to add some mushrooms, another pinch of salt, another stir, cover again, and let them sweat for another 4 or 5 minutes. Now I'm adding about 1.5 tablespoons of flour to slightly thicken the broth mixture. And now I'm adding to that some cold stock. The nice thing about this stock is that it's a little bit on the concentrated side, so you can add a little bit of water if you need to later to adjust the thickness of the liquid. Now I'm going to add some thyme and some Old Bay seasoning. Now I'm going to bring the mixture to almost a boil and then let it simmer for about 10-12 minutes, so it's just ever so slightly thickened but still pretty soupy. Now I'm going to pour that soupy mixture over our shredded warehouse chicken. And now you notice that all the good vegetables are sitting there at the top. They're still fairly bright because they're not heavily cooked. I'll stir those in to get them mixed in with the chicken meat. We'll set that aside and start on the dumplings, which starts with a cup of flour, to which I'm going to add some baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And next comes some, well, I got to mix the dry ingredients first, of course. Everyone knows that. And now we're going to put in some butter that's been frozen. So frozen that it was too hard to mix in with a fork. So I cheated and used a food processor, and now I'm adding about 1/2 cup of buttermilk. Not about, really. It's 1/2 cup. Now I'll mix this with a fork till it just starts to come together. Don't want to mix it too much because that will toughen the dumplings, and we like tender dumplings, don't we? Now it's still a little thick, and so instead of thinning it with buttermilk, I'm going to add a little bit of the chicken broth because I find that really enhances the flavor of the dumplings. So now we've got this wet mixture, and I need my trusty number 40 scoop to create the dumplings. And I just plop them on top of the chicken mixture. And let's hurry up here and get them all in. And when that's done, I'm going to baste them with the broth before I bake them, because I don't want them to be crispy on top. I want them to be nice and tender. So now we're going to cover it in foil and bake it, and this is what it looks like when it's all done. So we're going to dish out a sample and give it a try. You'll notice that this batch of dumplings is a little bit flat, but they are tender. The chicken meat is perfect. Of course, it's already been cooked and not overcooked in this process. The vegetables are tender but not overly cooked. They're not mushy. And I think it came out pretty well. If you'd like to try this recipe, you can go to my website, thesurlycook.com. You'll find a link to that website and more information about this video in the comments section below. Don't forget to click like if you in fact did like this recipe, and click subscribe so you can join us every weekend for a new recipe at the Surly Cook. Thanks for watching.